astrology for the week of September 9th to the 15th. We are building up to that eclipse on the 17th. I mean, that's really the big energy. We're building to the big truth bombing, revelatory culmination, full moon that has a lot of dark goddess energy. So it's even more fiery, more truth bombing, and it's going to take us into deeper transformation. It's a lot about transformation. But this week, before we get there, there are some moments of real grace. And I love this. I want to talk about this. I want to give us some ways that we can tap into kind of like the magic that's on offer. I do think that there are some breakthrough moments that are available this week, especially with the Jupiter trining Venus this weekend. I feel like that's going to be the real sort of breakthrough for the feminine. Breakthrough for our heart's desires, breakthrough for like love, right? It's like love is gonna win this weekend. And I remember working with a shaman a really long time ago. She's one of my teachers, shamanic practitioner for decades and decades and decades. And, she was just like wise woman, like wise elder, not many of those around, but like elder, wise woman. And she said, Sabrina, the older I get, the simpler it gets. It's just all love. The thing that heals is love. What brings alchemy and change and transformation? It's love. Like genuine, raw, pure, wild, unabandoned, divine, powerful, non-conditional, non-human love. Like the big potent love. So to me, this weekend is a love weekend. And I do feel like we have this opportunity to really let love light the way. Let love heal a lot of things. Let love move us. Let love open up doors that weren't open before. We're doing that in the ReWilding Challenge. If you haven't signed up for the ReWilding Challenge, you might want to join us. I mean, of course, it might not be for you, but it's 3 days of free rewilding. And that's going to be a big portion of what we're doing, is really tapping into this enormous force of love, right? All the ways where we block love, deny love, and we don't know it. It's not like we're trying to. It's just old patterns, old patterns. And so with Jupiter trining Venus this weekend, really breaking through all of our patterns of denying love, unable to receive love, withholding love. I won't go too far into that, but just know that this weekend is really powerful. That happens on Saturday. That happens on the 14th, Saturday, followed up by, get this, I love this. This weekend's so good. Can you see why we're running the ReWilding Challenge this weekend? Because the astrology is just crazy good. And it's just before the eclipses too. So it's kind of like setting us up for this like rocket launching into potentials, which is what eclipse season's all about. So again, you're super welcome to join us. Would love to share it with you. It's totally free. It's our way of loving it forward, paying it back, holding just this big, beautiful, wild, wonderful way to journey deeper into self and into these parts of self and work with love and some of these other sacred energies, these archetypal energies that we talk about in astrology, like Venus, right? Like Jupiter, like Lilith. Yeah, we're going to do a little work with Lilith. We got to work with Lilith. She's just too loud at the moment. And she has a flavor of love that is like wild woman liberator, kind of love, sexual freedom, liberation kind of love, but it's really at the core of the core of the core. It is love. Love can flavor everything. Love flavors sexuality. Love flavors your freedom. Love flavors your wildness. Love flavors your no. Love flavoring all of that. That's the deep sacred feminine, right? Like, and we're going to work in that territory. So you're super welcome to join us. Every human being is welcome to join us. It's not limited to any gender specific at all. So invite your partners, your lovers, your friends, your sisters, aunts, mothers, fathers, brothers, whatever. Invite them all. Everyone's welcome to join us. And it starts Friday the 13th. Isn't that so fun? Friday the 13th. I just love that. I love that. And we go until the 15th, and that full moon eclipse is the 17th. So yeah, you can sign up below. You'll see links and details for that. I'm crazy excited for it. Okay. Let me talk a little bit more about what then comes. So I was just talking about this weekend. I know I'm going to come back and talk about the week specifically, but the big stuff is really going on the weekend. And so that Venus, Jupiter, that beautiful, I mean, it's the best lineup of all of September. You know, I mean, I think eclipses are the best, but most people don't agree with me on that. When we talk about like the benevolent, grace-filled, good stuff, the good feeling stuff, the miraculous type stuff, it's this lineup with Jupiter and Venus. That's the best of all of September. So you don't want to miss Saturday. Definitely do something on Saturday. If it's not the ReWilding challenge, right, where we're tapping into that love, we'll tap into Venus, we'll tap right into that breaking through into, you know, more love, receiving more love, giving more, all of that stuff. Do something for yourself on that day. It's just too powerful to miss. So I mean, of course, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. But I think there's a lot of magic to be had on Saturday. So then right after that, Mars, which is Venus's consort, right? It's Venus and Mars, right? So her lover, her consort, is square the nodes of fate. Y'all, this is just too good. So that's action. So Mars, the Mars part of us, we all have these aspects. You have a Venus part of you, you have a Mars part of you. So the Mars part of you is what takes action, is what kind of gets things done, is what moves things forward. Now he's in this lineup with the nodes of fate. What does that mean? Let me make it real tangible for us. It means that we have this way of tapping into taking action from a place that is so aligned for us. That feels that when we take action from this place, make decisions from this place, it's in a way that is so fulfilling, so purposeful for us. It is that which we truly long for. We truly crave, like the work we really want to be doing in the world that will really fulfill us. The relationship that we really want to create in this world that will really fulfill us, right? The family, the home, the community, the friendships that we really want to create that will really fulfill us. So a lot of insights can come through on Sunday. I love it. But it has to be it's like you want to activate the Mars in you. We'll do that in the challenge. So if you're like, I don't know how to do that, I don't know what that action part of me is, right? This go-getter, this doer part of me is, I don't know. Join the challenge, right? I'll like guide us right into that territory. You don't need to have any experience in any of this stuff, right? At all. None at all. Like that's my job, is to get you into those parts of self. And so working in that territory where you're like inviting those nodes of fate. Those nodes, they're your nodes of fate. That's your true north. That's your north node path. It's your soul purpose path. So when anyone's asking questions around, well, what's my purpose in life? What's my higher calling in life? What's my sacred calling? What did my soul come here to do? It's that line. It's that line in astrology. And that's the line we're going to work with. That's the line. Like you can experientially work with that line. You can open up to that line and get the insights, right? So that the action forward, the decisions forward can be made from that place. I just love this astrology, and I love that it's happening just before the big eclipses come. So on the 17th, there's an eclipse, that's the full moon eclipse, and then there's a new moon eclipse happening on October 2nd, 3rd, depending on where you're at, right? So that's just really going to continue to support and propel us into our highest expression, into our true north path. It's all about soulful time, right? Eclipses are very spiritual awakening times. They're very soulful times. They're very much about getting us into the deepest alignment that those eclipses can, right? With the energy that it's got and the time that it has. Get us into deeper alignment with what it is that you really came here to do. Like, what is it that you came here to do in this one wild, wonderful, beautiful, amazing life of yours? Right? Like that's the question of eclipse season. What is it that needs to fall away for that to happen? And what is it that needs to be brought into your life for that to happen? so good, right? So there's lots of practices in just what I shared there, those conversations there. And again, if you want new practices, or like, I don't have any practices to get into like this eclipsing out, eclipsing in, true north node, soul purpose stuff, join the challenge, right? I'm going to give you tons and tons and tons of practices, like 3 days of practices. And again, it's just because we love our community and we love doing this, and we just want to share good things out in the world. Okay, so again, that starts Friday the 13th. You want to sign up before then. Oh, that reminds me. I'm doing a bonus astrology masterclass thing for anyone who signs up before we start the challenge. So you might want to go sign up today, because there is a masterclass bonus coming your way. Gosh, I might film that today. Okay, let's talk a little bit more. Let's go backwards in the week now. I know I just jumped ahead to the weekend, because that's the good stuff, right? That's the real good stuff. So let's come back to the week. We start off the week where conversations, communications, our capacity to think through things loosens up. Mercury was just in some really tough stuff over the weekend. He was in a yod, a finger of God, with Neptune and Pluto. That's like deep transformation, and it's, disillusion, the cloud of unknowing, can't think straight. Things are really unclear. So Monday, I love this about this whole week. The clarity's coming. The aha moments can be here. Mercury's now in Virgo. Mercury loves Virgo. That means the mind can think much more clearly. Also, Mercury comes out of shadow on the 11th. That's on Wednesday. So Mercury was in retrograde. Remember, it was like that Leo retrograde, Virgo, Leo, and then back into Virgo, which was all about the going in to see where we are blocking, we're dimming our light, dulling our shine, blocking the way that love wants to move through us. That's Virgo, right? Virgo's the earth priestess. I know now I'm getting a little bit too into the weeds. So let me just bring it back to Wednesday. Wednesday, Mercury comes out of the front end shadow. So it's finally like, the mind fully gets released, from going inward to review, revise, revisit, renew. Yes, he's been direct for a while, but he was in the front end shadow. So in the front end shadow, and he was still in Leo for a good long time. So it was still like wonky and weird, and he was hitting all these places like that yod, that finger of God. That's just hard. The mind can't really wrap around what the heck is going on, what happened, what's the best path forward. So if you've been feeling like things are a little watery or a little confusing still, clarity's coming. Let the clarity come. This is a week to switch the mind on. It really is. Really and truly, Mercury's in a powerful position. So on Wednesday, he's sextiling Mars. That's stunning. That's the same archetypal energy that squares the nodes of fate this weekend that we just talked about. So Mars is a really great energy. It's our action. It's our doer. It's our moving forward. So really wanting to activate that part of self and get that part of self linking up with Mercury, right? Mercury, the mind, the messenger of the gods, right? So it's like Mercury's delivering here's the other thing I want to weave into this week, the deeper intuitive wisdoms. Let that be a big player because of the amount of deep sacred feminine energy going on in the astrology. So we have to talk about this. Medusa's on the sun. This whole week, Medusa's on the sun. That's a thing. The sun is our conscious self. That's the part of self that we identify with. It's very easy for us to see. It's like our personality self, right? It's the part we see a lot, conscious self. That is conjunct Medusa. So it's going to be flavored with dark goddess. And what does Medusa want to do? Medusa wants you to remove your masks to reveal who you are underneath your masks. She's like, no, that was a family mask you put on. Get it off. It's time. You've outgrown that mask, and feel into that overall with eclipse season, because that's flavoring the eclipse season. So remember, eclipse season is what is it that's being eclipsed out? Think of Medusa. She's wanting to eclipse out masks that we wear that do not fit anymore. Old roles, old masks, how we hide ourselves. What do we hide behind? Do we hide behind rage, anger? That's Medusa. And underneath is our vulnerable feminine. But out front, because she's been hurt, she's been wounded, maybe she's got a broken heart, maybe she's been sexually wounded in certain ways, right? So she's got this like hard exterior, just this like gnarly turn you to stone if you look at me. That's Medusa, right? That's her mask. But underneath there is this soft, vulnerable heart that is longing to be met, that's longing to experience a kind of love that she knows is there. Like she knows it has to be there. Like this kind of love has to be there. This way of giving, receiving love has to be there. This way of relating, being in relationship, it has to be there, right? But it's a very, very vulnerable place. Do you see how this weekend, what we're going to do in the challenge, right? What we're going to do in the challenge, also supporting that with the Venus-Jupiter. That highlights that softer, more vulnerable, takes us beyond the masks. But there can be this week some of this letting out unprocessed, trapped emotions. Can be real old, karmic-y, right? We have Lilith on the South Node. Yeah, that's this eclipse season. It's Lilith flavored. It's very, very Lilith flavored. That's another deep, sacred feminine energy where it's truth demanding. She also demands equality between the masculine and the feminine. So there can be, right, a lot of purging out angers, rage, hurts, wounds around, I'm so sick of saying masculine and feminine, but I'm going to have to say it that way, right? Because it's Lilith. Lilith just demands the equality between those two particular energies in ourselves, in our relationships, in our world around us. And so she's like, well, here's the deal. Like, I'm going to show you, not just show you the wounds and the hurts. And she wants us, right? She wants us to puke out the old rage, the old wounds, the old hurts, to find a level of releasing, a level of liberation. This is why she's called Wild Woman Liberation, Lilith, Wild Woman Liberation. P.S. We're going to work with her in the challenge too. So if you've never worked with Lilith, she's fierce grace. She's fierce grace. She's deep, sacred, feminine love. She's wild. She'll show you parts of self that you did not know were there. She unlocks a lot of life force energy. She's also a really powerful archetypal energy to work with for anyone wanting to reclaim the fullness of their sexuality, to really like honor, own, open up, to heal sexual energy. Lilith is very, very, I would say one of the number one archetypal energies I would work with for that. We're going to work with her in the challenge. Again, if you haven't signed up, you'll find details below. Okay, so let's continue on. I don't need to keep harping on and on and on about Lilith. There's another lineup around the deep sacred feminine and the warrior, the feminine warrior. Pallas Athena is conjunct Kali and conjunct the Lilith asteroid. So the Lilith that is on the South Node is the Black Moon Lilith. That's more of the conglomerate of all the dark goddesses. It's more powerful, energetically, brings up more. It's like trudging up past life stuff. We can see witch wound stuff coming up too. So some of that past life stuff with Medusa on the Sun and with Black Moon Lilith on South Node in an eclipse season, we can very much see this trudging up of witch wounds, past lives where when we stepped into our feminine power, we were burnt at the stake, we were ostracized, we were kicked out of society. I don't know if we're going to work on that in the challenge. We'll see if that energy comes up. Very much could, because it's just really, really alive at the moment. But that could be something that's coming up this week for you as well. So it's Kali, Pallas Athena, and the Lilith asteroid. They're all conjunct each other. That just makes them really loud. And I feel really good that Pallas Athena is there. Pallas Athena is wisdom warrior. She's discernment. She's strategist. But I love that it's the deep sacred feminine is there around let's reclaim your power. Let's reclaim more of who you truly are. Let's really wake you up to your sexual, your fully liberated sexual energy, right? But let's do it in a wise way, yes, I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior for more of my juice, more of my light, my radiance, my beauty, my feminine, my intuition, and this isn't about women. either, by the way. Like, this is the feminine. I'm not saying this as gender specific at all, but it's like, yes, this in our world, this is just going to be loud. This whole eclipse season is very flavored by the feminine reclamation, by the feminine rising, right? And it's like the deep sacred feminine rising, the ostracized parts of the feminine, the denied parts of the feminine. So that's a question that we may want to ask ourselves too, is, you know, what parts of my own feminine, what parts of my own feminine are really wanting to come to the surface, to be seen, to be reclaimed? What parts of my own feminine are wanting to rise? You know, like rise. Like the witch in me is really wanting to rise. Like the sexually liberated wild woman is really wanting to rise. You know, the mother in me is really wanting to rise. What is it that's really wanting to rise in you? It's a great question to ask yourself. We'll probably ask ourselves that question in the challenge. Because, you know, I just can't help doing feminine reclamation work everywhere. We were built on rewilding for women, by the way. So depending on where you're listening to this or how long you've been hanging out with us, you may be like, I don't know, what is this rewilding stuff? And it's like, well, actually it came from rewilding with these archetypal energies. Yeah, back in the day. All right. Let me talk a little bit more. Let's talk about Thursday. We'll talk about Thursday and Friday, and then we'll wrap it up here. So Thursday, that's the 12th. The sun is square to Jupiter. So remember, Jupiter this weekend is with Venus in a trine, like very auspicious, beautiful, harmonizing aspect. But the sun is square to Jupiter on Thursday. I like this aspect. There can be some grace. Jupiter brings grace. He brings expansion, but he's in a square. So it's typically like a square brings a challenge, and it's a challenge to our conscious self, the sun. And remember, the sun is conjunct Medusa. So Jupiter is going to bring a lot of juice, a lot of grace bombing, and to say basically like, here's where your limits are. Let me show you what you need to break through. So it could be hard energy. I mean, overall, it'll be really beautiful because it is about your expansion, and we're in eclipse season, so it's all about soul. It's all about your greatest soul expression. So it's aligned with that, but could be challenging because it could be showing us where we are wearing a mask to hold back our full potential. What it is that we need to break through. We could see glass ceilings, upper limits, thought patterns that are holding us back, false belief systems that are holding us back, which is glorious and great overall, but it might be just like the inklings of like, here's what eclipse is going to be about this weekend. So that's coming up on Thursday. And then Friday, I love this. The moon is conjunct Pluto on Friday. I don't often talk about the moon. The moon moves so fast, but I want to talk about it because I know some of you who are listening are joining the challenge. And so Friday's challenge astrology, the moon is deep part of self, right? If we were to say the sun is the conscious part of self, we could say the moon is almost the unconscious part of self. If we were to say the sun is the masculine part of self, we could say that the moon is the feminine part of self, right? It's like, could be our emotional nature, some people refer to the moon as. So that being conjunct Pluto, the great transformer. I love this. And for this to be the day that we kick off the ReWilding Challenge, which is Friday the 13th, right? It's just pointing to that container, that cauldron for the challenge is going to be deeply transformative. And I do love that it has this flavoring of to the feminine, which is the moon, right? That it is deeply transformative for the feminine. I feel like there's a lot of power to Pluto is a lot of power. So for Pluto to be with the moon, that is power. I have moon conjunct Pluto in my own natal chart. And so just wildly on a personal level, I'm like, I know this. This is so good. This is so good. Like, I'm really fired up. I always love facilitating these challenges. I love facilitating those of us who've been around for a really long time, taking us into journeys that we've been in before. And those of us who are brand new, like you've never done rewilding, you're like, I don't even know what archetypes are. I don't know what this tantric shamanic shit is, Sabrina, an underworld journey, like into my inner self. What are you talking about? Waking up sacred energies in myself. Are you kidding me? So I just, no matter where you're at, on your journey, you're so welcome to join us, and I'd just love to share it with you. All right. I think the final note that I'll share is just this, like, here's to the love, like overall, like, here's to the love, that Venus, Jupiter, like, here's to the love. Like, may we let love move us. May we let love light the way. May we let love alchemize the shit, right? Like, let's just let love do what love really can do. All right. Huge love to you on that note. I will see you when I see you, where I see you, and how I see you, hopefully in the challenge this weekend. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.